Okay, today I am going to mention it all about the Housewives reboot, aka Legacy show, and this other new iteration of the Housewives of New York that has been announced. Okay, so I've gotten so many messages on social media about whether I will come back to the Housewives to, and these are not my words, quote unquote, save the franchise and do the reboot, and the show needs me and it's not the same without me. And it's honestly really flattering because I have been gone for a while, and compared to people who've been on for 12 and 13 seasons, maybe even like 15 seasons, I'm not sure how long, I don't remember, but it's over a dozen seasons people have been on. I was only on, I think, maybe 7 or 8 seasons. So I'm flattered. And E! Entertainment came out with a greatest housewives in history list, and there I think are 135 or 136 housewives on it, and I was number 1. So that was also flattering and fun and fodder and ridiculous. And it's always fun to kind of talk to the Housewives fans about this stuff. And Housewives fans are very, very loyal, I have to say. And they like when you mention that you were named number 1. They don't get mad at you and tell you to be humble or anything. They kind of say, oh, I haven't watched since you weren't on it. And it's just fodder. It's just campy. The Housewives is very campy. And for that, I do appreciate the fans. And I get it. It's like being inside of it's like being part of some club. Okay, so many of you have been asking me for a response to a Housewives announcement. So a couple weeks ago, I got a text from, the powers that be in the Bravo sphere saying, is there a chance? Is there a chance? Just asking, is there a chance? Meaning, would I come back? And I then saw this article, and the picture on the article was the girls from the Housewives, the current girls, the Leah, the Ebony, the Sonia, Ramona, Luann. And then an article about 2 new iterations coming of Real Housewives of New York. So one is a group of new people that will be one show, and another that is like a legacy show, like a mashup of people, the ghosts of housewives past in New York. So I didn't understand what it would be coming back to, because it wasn't really an announcement. It was like an announcement that we're going to do something. And I know from a bunch of producers and people in the industry that they're casting the show of new people, and that they clearly don't know who the show of old people will be, because I was asked to be on it. So it's not been crafted. So it felt like sort of a half-baked announcement. I didn't really understand it. And I know that there have been, years ago I said to Andy, there should be an all-star show. And he said, one day we'll get to the point where we have to do that. We're not there now. And with these mashup shows of different cities mixed together, obviously that time has come now. The shows have had a great run. The franchise has had a great run, and ratings have declined. Nothing good lasts forever. Even trees that grow high don't grow to the sky. So clearly they're trying to, do new things. It's like hot dogs are a bunch of different meats mixed together to make a hot dog, and imitation crab, a bunch of different fish. Bologna is like a bunch of different meat, I think, to make this new thing called bologna. So I guess it's RHONY Bologna. Listen, I think they're smart to keep going back to the well and keep finding new ways to make things. I mean, I made chicken salad today from a roast chicken the other day. You just pull it off the bone and take a different piece and mix it with mayonnaise and cashews and make a new thing. So, this is a show that back when we were doing it and we didn't have glam squads and we didn't have high budgets and we just had sort of great conversation and freshness, it was a different show. Then it evolved into like full glam squads and costumes and hair pieces down to our toes and like a full, fashion show, and a whole different iteration than what it was when I was on. And people are pulling legs off and ripping weaves off and all that kind of stuff, because it's not enough. You have to keep doing new things. So now we've done it all. What else? When someone's throwing their leg on a dance floor, what else can possibly happen? So I think what else could possibly happen? Mix the leg in with an arm and a torso and blend it all up and make RHONY Bologna, make a new soup. So that's what I think is going on. You got to just, because they can't give that up, because you got to tap that vein and get the last juice out of that franchise. You got to keep going and reduce it and marinate it and crystallize it and get as much as you can. Squeeze all the moisture out of that sponge. I respect and understand that. It's all about the Benjamins, baby. And there are plenty of women who are so excited to do that, who want that hit back, who want that fix back, who just want to be part of the shine, who just want to get another gift bag and walk another step and repeat and do another, product line. So I have left my mark on the legacy because I was the first housewife to write a book, first housewife to create a cocktail, certainly. First housewife to do a photo shoot. I remember I did a cover shoot for Social Life magazine. So I know personally housewives who've said once they get fired, they're going to move on to a whole new life. But the undertow of that series pulls them back because they're not as relevant when not on that show. And they really need that for that hit, that jolt, that drug that makes them feel relevant and important, particularly at an age when women aren't feeling a revival of their career, relevant and important. And they'll do it at any cost. Where, it's not something that seems like it's appealing to me. It seems like a hodgepodge when they already have a couple of series of hodgepodges of everyone mixed together. So this is a hodgepodge of people that used to be in one city. So it's a little unclear and confusing for me. I don't even know if I agree with the statement because I have said to them, there's a number, but you can't pay it. Because I do think that there are things that don't have a number. Many things have a number. Someone walks in front of my house and wants to buy it. I love my house so much. I'm emotional about it. I love it. They walk in. I'm sure there's a number for me to walk out with my child and a photo album and, peace out. But, they can't afford it. So when asked, I say there's a number, but I don't think you can afford it. And from a business standpoint, probably smarter for them to just keep, mixing together the ingredients that they already have on the shelf, the people that will do it for so cheap because they'll do it for next to nothing for the relevance and the jolt. So from a business standpoint, you have something that's not at the peak in ratings. Put them all together in the soup. You have an audience. They're going to watch it, so they don't necessarily need my advice. But unless you're creating some new thing that you're reviving an entire brand and doing something entirely new, I don't even see how that applies to me because I didn't necessarily even understand what it. The only concepts that are of interest to me in this franchise are the original 5. Me, Alex, Jill, Ramona, Luann. That's got an authenticity to it. That was all of us prior to everybody else coming in and being so thirsty and having glam squads and having a preconceived notion. That was very authentic. And it's funny because Ramona's been criticized for saying that we brought in the press. She just doesn't articulate well. But what she meant was the show was in Orange County. They're not in a media city. That was a good show. I think they used to get like 900,000 viewers, and that was the beginning. But when New York came in and people were saying they were socialites, that's when places like New York Magazine was writing about the show. It doesn't mean we were better than Orange County. It doesn't mean we got the best ratings. It just means that that's when it became a media darling, and she is correct in that way. And then after came Jersey and Atlanta and so on. And then overall, the whole franchise became a media darling. But back when we were on was prior to Twitter. I was wearing a cable knit sweater, not unlike this, with no makeup in the show. It had an authenticity to it. So the only cast that's interesting to me is me, Jill, Ramona, Luann, and Alex. But what are we? We're not really friends. And most of the women on these shows aren't really friends. They're friends because of the show, and then they stay friends because they also have to lobby until the next season of the show. But, we're not all friends. So we're coming back for what? Like a friends reunion? And that's a different version. That's at least a concept. But just mashing everybody together and continuing to pretend that we're all friends is not a great concept. The 5 of us getting back together for some reason, and I'm not saying I'm doing that, that's at least a concept. The goats. Paul once asked me, who's your Mount Rushmore of housewives? This is who I think are the goats. Me, Nene, Lisa Vanderpump, Teresa, hands down. And it's funny because I said that a while back And on E's list, we're all in the top. So in my experience, me, Nene, Lisa Vanderpump, and Teresa are the 4 goats. That's it. And the 4 of us doing something, being on a road trip, being somewhere, that's at least a concept. It's not just like a hodgepodge garage sale of people. That seems arbitrary. So to me, I like concepts, and it is business. And I did say to Bravo, there is a number, but you can't pay it. And I do believe that, because a rebrand is expensive. They might be better suited to just continue with the throwing spaghetti on the wall, because it's much cheaper. The other women across the entire franchise, yes, and it's true, and sorry to disappoint, but yes, are much less expensive. And that's been enraging to people, because the least interested party always wins, and I don't need to come back. Okay, interesting conversation. When I did a TikTok about the reboot, there's a voice that I used on TikTok where the girl is Australian, and she said, it's a long story and it's really fucking boring. And on the TikTok, it said my thoughts on the reboot. I'm not saying that the reboot is a long story and it's really fucking boring. I don't know anything about the story. It's a short story. And whatever it is might be really interesting. I'm saying my opinion on it is a long story and really fucking boring. I don't know that much about it. Also interesting, I didn't know that the girl whose voice I was using was a housewife of one of the cities of Australia. I think they have maybe Sydney and Melbourne, I think it is. I don't know. I don't know who the person is, but that's funny too, that I chose a voice. And I recorded that weeks before I even applied it to Housewives. I just thought that the voice was funny, and I didn't even know I was going to use it for that. So it all ended up coming really full circle now that I think about it. So that is my long fucking story that's really boring answer to the Real Housewives mashup reboot new show.